You're listening to Where You Live with Gene Sullivan.
Wow, because discussions get really lively at times, we're not going to go into guessing what this theme song is. We'll go right back into our debate with Tim. I will certainly agree with you that I would be the first to tell you that, of course, not every management company is not a necessarily stellar in their performance, and if there are things that they are not doing in accordance with the scope of their contract, yes, I think then the people that are receiving that have the right to be able to say, hey, this isn't working, we'll see you later. And I do think that does happen.
Do you think a management company should return phone calls, answer phone calls, return emails, and be knowledgeable about?
Oh, of course. But, you're only hearing one side of the story. I can tell you, Tim, for every one where someone says someone didn't return the call, and I had someone, I've had people that call me all the time because as the president of a management company, they'll say, I want to let you know what's happening. I've called your property manager, so-and-so, and they haven't returned a call to me in over 3 days on 3 different calls. And that sounds bad. And then I find out, you know what? They called on Friday at 10 to 5 when the office closes at 5 and the property manager's been out doing inspections at the property. They called again Saturday afternoon when the office isn't open. And then they call again Monday morning at 7:30, and then they're calling me at 9 a.m. saying, you know what? It's been 3 different times over 3 different days, and you know what? It really wasn't quite that. Or how many times someone will actually call and will say, I never get a call back. And you say, well, did you leave a message? And then you find out they called, but when they didn't get a hold of someone, they didn't leave a message, so there was no way for that person to respond and get back to them. And but through omission, a lot of people don't want to get that clarified, and I can understand when people get upset because expectations aren't being met. It can be easy for someone to say, oh, emotionally, I connect with that, but they didn't really follow through to see whether or not the expectation was realistic. And so I think sometimes that's happening quite a bit
hearsay,
too.
I'm not talking just about hearsay, but talking about personal experience as well. Here's a little piece, a little nugget. I mean, so the world changed. When Google was introduced in, 1992, the world started changing. We live in a demonstratively different world than we did in the early 1990s. So I have real-time data access to I can do foreign language translations on my desk to almost any language on the planet in a matter of seconds for free today. I can look at satellite views, stuff that was only available to NASA and to government agencies, select government agencies just a few years ago.
Okay.
I can look at my street, your street.
And so, and the point with this is
that there's a ton of information that homeowners associations and property managers could provide as a free service, as a part of our changing world that don't. I went through your website this week and looked at a number of links in your associations, and I didn't see anything in there that showed HOA documents, deed restrictions, frequently asked questions, information about warrantability of homes, information that talked about what the relationship, percentage relationship between investors and homeowners.
That is all available, Tim, on each HOA website. But some of those things, a person needs to become a member to get those items. Yeah. But yes, you can go on a website and you can anytime pull out the governing documents, meeting minutes from past meetings, And that is available. You can also see past copies of monthly financial statements. That's available on all of the associations and with all of the clients that we manage. And I think you'll find that really is there with quite a few as well. I would know that also take place in Texas as well.
As an investor, if I wanted to buy, and I'm looking at 6 condominium associations in the Austin area, should I go and buy homeowners? Should I go and buy the deed restrictions for those 6 organizations and spend $1,500 to get those?
I think you may be confusing some things when you getting documents to an association and getting them online. I think you'll find that most of them can and do provide them for free. If you want details that you're going to be drilling down with an association, and now you're wanting certain commitments and guarantees and promises being made, yes, that's a disclosure of information that is required by state statute. And because of that, and because it has to be accurate, and because it has to be updated, and because it has to be kept by law even up to 5 years, even after an association may have moved on, that yes, there is an expense for that, and yes, it can cost a couple $100. That's not any different than an association in a closing where a realtor also has extra fees other than their commission. They also have a document charge, because you know very well that you have to keep those documents and be able to produce those up to years later if someone requests them. And so it takes time to organize that, and yet you don't see anything wrong with you as a realtor probably charging those extra fees. And then also, if I could also,
I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah, and then the other aspect dealing with the amount of transfer fees, you'll also find that in the case, and I'm speaking now, I know in Minnesota, and I know in several other states, and I bet you it's also true in Texas as well. Nationally, I know that they've been looking at the use of transfer fees that have been charged, and typically there's been 2 to 3 months extra in terms of the monthly assessment that's been charged to the homeowner. But that's something that the association captures and uses to fund the capital replacement plan and reserves for the components that need to be taken care of on a long-range basis. And a lot of new homeowners have paid that typically to get the reserve fund started when a development is just getting underway. But after people have purchased and all of the homes have sold, many HOAs have continued on with that practice for the purpose of funding the reserves. And so it is something that doesn't go into someone else's pocket other than the homeowners, so that the chances of having to go back to the homeowner and say, we need a special assessment are less, because we've collected that money consistently and fairly from everybody from day one, and it's gone into the reserves for that purpose. And so I'm
very familiar with that practice.
Yeah.
Very familiar with it.
Well, hey, well, it looks like by the time on the clock here, that's about all the time that we have. Tim, I thank you for taking some time to be on the show today.
Thanks, Gene. I appreciate it. Appreciate you letting the folks here at Austin Real Estate Secrets to have a little visibility on this issue. It obviously is at the heart of a lot of homeowners.
Okay. Thank you. That was Realtor Tim Thornton from Austin, Texas, and Zip Realty. Well, we're going to take a break. Don't go away. We've got a lot more of Where You Live after these messages.